In performance, all one can hope for is the telling of the truth. Something in the present moment, triggering something from the past, like an ocean in the subconscious, and taking us towards a truth of our collective forevers. History, memory, metaphors, and life. October 1st, 2025. One large empty hall, 2 artists, and a night full of uncertainty, anxiety, and betrayal of ideas that we walked in with, which, like the ego, have to be abandoned at the door for something new to come through. I had the great privilege of having my dear friend Shivam Pathak by my side throughout this entire process. He comes with the attitude of, this is what we have to do, so let's make this happen, let's get going, let's get this done. I, on the other hand, am the great procrastinator. I, for the nature of my work, have to wait and endure the darkness. That empty stage where I stand, not like the hunter, but the meat at the other end of the stick. There is a whole army and weaponry that Shivam comes with. Lights and haze and mist and smoke, and all I can do is, sure, bring the ideas, the clothes, some props and war paint, but that's it. Then, like the meat, I have to be dangled in the darkened forest, waiting for the ghosts to come through and catch me. I let go and let some higher power take over, take us on a journey into the unknown. Back in 2019, my last show at Fashion Week, The Miracle Show, told a tall tale about the complex relationship between art and achievement. The life of every artist that isn't at the mercy of his emotions when he has chosen winning as his mode of survival. It isn't easy, because there are lies at the center of that. Lies that we tell ourselves. Lies that the world has convinced us will work. One of those lies being applause. Applause as a substitute for that love that went missing somewhere in our childhood. Approval, validation, and all of those sickly, unhealthy things that we run for the rest of our lives, that fill us really with nothing. All of those movie stars, celebrities, overachievers, overcompensating for God knows what. These images that we have seen and grown up with all around us, those of a life of enduring, just for one golden brick at the end of it, for the world to finally approve of you, to tell you you did good, to tell you that everything you fought for, the sacrifices, the compromises, the struggle, was worth it. This time I wanted to explore what comes after that, beyond the gold and the glamour, self-presentation as self-preservation. What lies in the void that comes after victory, when you're back in the dark, alone? Does it last? Does it matter? Do you feel fulfilled? Do you feel less hurt? More alive? Does the happiness arrive at the end of the battle? Are the wounds that you willingly left bleeding for decades in hope of these dreams to come true, do they heal? Or are you still just moving around, haunted in circles, like that child in school? Like that little boy who I sang to at the end of that show. I met him again, and I asked him, was it worth it, the path you chose? 'cause I still follow it blindly, and boy, I am lost, waiting so patiently for that day to come, for that dream to arrive. So what did it get you when you did it? Friends? Praise? Achievement? Love? Did you feel less alone? Less different? Less troubled? Happy? Somewhere, I'm still that boy. I'm still that child, but I admire him greatly. I wear his uniform with armorial pride, because that boy never afforded himself the luxury of being a crybaby. He fought and fought and fought, and won and won and won. He made the grand mistake of assuming that if he will win, they will love him. All the bullying and the pain and the violence, oh, he took that as fuel to reach some unnecessarily toxic summit, like a child stoic. I grew up way too fast because of the path that I chose. You see, I never got to be young when I was a child. And then I remembered Tennessee Williams's great masterpiece, A Streetcar Named Desire. And the first time I came across the characters of Stanley Kowalski and Blanche Dubois, and that inner human violence of these two monsters fighting it out to survive. And that was me. I was both Stanley and Blanche, struggling and roughing it out in my own golden cage of neurosis. I set myself up for that mistake of taking the pain and identifying with it, taking that fight and that struggle and making it a part of my narrative. I was the Jesus of my own tragedy, my self-inflicted punishment on my weakness. I was vulnerable. But that vulnerability, it gave me power. I realized I had power. And that was the next visual I was looking for. Maria Callas. I had this vision of standing still at one spot and delivering the message of this song like a great opera star. No movements, my feet planted firmly in the ground, and singing with majesty and size, like a dinosaur, roaring with power. So imagine that. Maria Callas and T-Rex. And what do you get? That power. And that was me. This reptilian, broken idol, ready for battle one last time, singing it out and lashing and cursing at the world, warning it of the great lesson he had learned from those obstacles, that violence, those fires still burning, an unchanging truth, taking all that rage and turning it into art. Yes, true, I did that, loud and strong. But even after letting the fires out, that anger goes nowhere. Like a hydra, it grows right back. It stays. That anger. It sticks. You may take it and turn it into anything constructive, but that anger is an entity of its own. It lives through. It lives on. It has power. There were other ghosts that I met that night, none of which were people that I ever was. Maybe I wasn't them, but in some strange way, I felt they had been me. I had met them before, somewhere, in some past life, or they were people I had read about, or maybe the truth is, I am each one of them. These disjointed short stories that, in some strange, convoluted way, came together to tell one tale. I patiently waited for them all night long to say what they had to, and then let go of me. What I remember most about that night was being a conduit, a vessel. I spent time before that playing around with these tools of clothes and posturing and gestures in front of a mirror, trying to find these people who were my responsibility to bring to life on the screen. And slowly they did emerge. I was alone, but they came, and I surrendered to their truths. I let go and disappeared into their light. You see, vulnerability and power together are the basis of what I do as an artist. And like this duality, there is another one that exists. The all-consuming truth that I am two parts. I am a human being and an artist. And unfortunately for the former, it is the artist who gets priority. I don't get the time to grieve or heal or process. If the artist is ready to get up and sing and perform and do what he has to, then the human being in me has to just catch up, I guess, and provide his body and his sound and his voice as an instrument for that message that has to come through to the world. A message that I don't get to have any control over. It isn't mine. It is something I have been given to deliver to the world. I have the support of all that research and the generosity of so many artists to help me find those words, those images. And all I can do is wait. Wait in front of a mirror and practice and rehearse and let that monster reveal itself. Hours and hours of letting that beast come through and just take over. So that by the end of it, you can't see me and I can't see myself. And together, we see something bigger than us. A truth, unfiltered, unbeautiful. A truth about who we are on the inside, even when all these tools and weapons of imagery are expelled. And who we are as people, and how we find a way. Yeah. I think that's what it came down to by the end of it. Letting everything fall apart so that you can lose any fear that holds you back, any fear of life, of time, any fear of that shadow, any fear of the truth, any fear of that anger, and you let it take over. That bitterness, that rage, that vengeance, that brokenness, that trauma, that power, that anger, that rage, that power, and that anger, and that betrayal, and that rage of the child, the artist, the dreamer, and the monster. All of them are part of one life. They live together, they suffer together, they grow together. We are what we hide from the world, and that is the only truth. That is what you find when you go home. That is all you have. That is all you have. The shadow. The shadow. The shadow. That is all I did have. A shadow. A shadow. A shadow.